Atlanta, a city built on rhythm, ambition, and fame. But beneath the flashing lights and the endless applause lies a truth most stars try to hide, that fame can expose what love was meant to protect. T.I. and Tiny were once the heartbeat of this city's music scene. He was hip-hop royalty, a self-made rapper who turned pain into platinum. She was the R&B darling with the voice of an angel and the presence of a queen. Together, they weren't just a couple, they were a movement, a living fairy tale carved out of hustle, loyalty, and shared dreams. For years, they defined what love looked like under the spotlight. Joint interviews, matching tattoos, even a family-friendly reality show that painted them as proof that fame and faithfulness could coexist. But behind the camera lenses and glossy magazine covers, small fractures had already begun to form, and those cracks would soon grow into a break so public, so raw, that the entire internet would be left staring at the pieces. Tonight, we're unraveling the rise and unraveling of Atlanta's royal couple, the secret pregnancy that shocked the industry, the betrayal that split fans in two, and the meltdown that turned private heartbreak into viral entertainment. When T.I. first burst onto the scene, he was everything the culture loved: sharp lyrics, real street roots, and a relentless work ethic. His debut album, Concrete Crown, went triple platinum, and by the time he was 28, he was already being called the new king of the South. During one award show afterparty, he met a rising R&B artist named Tiny. Tiny was different, classy but fearless, with a voice that could silence a crowded room. Within weeks, they were inseparable. By the next summer, the media had crowned them the power couple of modern music. They filmed commercials together, graced red carpets hand in hand, and let cameras into their home for a reality series that showed fans their softer side. Late-night studio sessions, laughter, and inside jokes that melted even their critics. For a while, everything looked perfect. But success changes the pace of life. The more T.I. toured, the less time he spent at home. Tiny, meanwhile, began focusing on her own projects, determined to prove she was more than the rapper's wife. Their schedules rarely aligned, but in public, the smiles never slipped. They became experts at posing for photographs, even when the silence between them said everything. Every empire begins to shake long before it falls. In T.I. and Tiny's case, the tremor started quietly. A few deleted posts here, a cryptic lyric there, a missing wedding ring during a red carpet appearance. Industry insiders started whispering that things weren't as stable as they appeared. Tiny was spending more and more time in the studio with a new producer named Shakina, a low-key musical genius known for his sultry beats and even smoother charm. The collaboration looked innocent until fans noticed late-night photos from the same studio posted just minutes apart on their separate accounts. T.I.'s camp brushed it off as internet gossip, but those closest to him said the tension was real. He'd grown distant, paranoid even, convinced that the industry that built his image was now conspiring to embarrass him. The energy shifted during interviews. Gone were the jokes, the playful teasing. In their place was a new stiffness, a gap neither seemed able to close. By spring, Tiny had retreated almost entirely from public life. Fans who followed her every move began noticing changes: canceled performances, oversized outfits, a softer tone in her posts. She captioned one photo, "Some blessings come with heartbreak," and immediately, the gossip machine roared to life. Then came the photograph that broke the internet. Tiny leaving a wellness clinic, teary-eyed and accompanied by her assistant. Within hours, gossip blogs plastered the picture everywhere. The question spread faster than wildfire. Was Tiny pregnant? T.I., on tour in Miami, reportedly found out through the same headlines that the public saw. According to sources in his circle, he made one call that turned into a screaming match heard halfway down the hotel hallway. Minutes later, he tweeted a single sentence: "Loyalty ain't what it used to be." That one line set social media ablaze. Thousands of retweets, countless think pieces, and an avalanche of rumors. Who was the father? Was the marriage already over? Did T.I.'s empire just crumble in real time? Behind the scenes, the truth was unraveling faster than either of them could control. Those close to Tiny claimed she had planned to tell him privately, but waited too long. Those close to T.I. said she had been lying for months. And in between the noise, two people who once shared everything were now sharing nothing but pain. The following weeks were chaos. Anonymous accounts started posting screenshots of alleged DMs between Tiny and Shekinah, messages about late-night studio sessions, confessions that blurred the line between professional and personal. None of them were verified, but it didn't matter. The internet believed what it wanted to believe. Tiny went silent, refusing to comment, until one sleepless night when she hit the Go Live button. Her followers watched as she appeared on screen, eyes swollen, voice cracking. She didn't name names, but her message was clear. She was tired of being painted as the villain. She said she had endured emotional neglect, that the public only saw the polished version of a relationship that had been breaking for years. And then she said the words that would echo for days: "I'm choosing peace, for me and for my baby." The live lasted less than 10 minutes, but that was enough. Clips flooded every social platform within the hour. Hashtags exploded. Hashtag Tiny Speaks. Hashtag Studio Baby. Hashtag Team T.I. Hashtag Team Tiny. What had once been a love story was now a digital battlefield. T.I. didn't respond directly, but his silence spoke volumes. He scrubbed their photos from his page, unfollowed her, and changed his bio to a single crown emoji. A week later, he dropped a freestyle on YouTube titled Receipts. Within it were thinly veiled lyrics about betrayal, DNA tests, and babies with eyes that ate mine. The internet dissected every bar like it was scripture. By midsummer, the couple's empire had collapsed. Their reality show was quietly pulled from the network schedule. Brand partnerships vanished overnight. Publicists scrambled to control the narrative, but the damage was done. Tiny gave birth in near silence. No flashy announcement, no magazine exclusive, just a single black and white photo of a newborn's tiny hand and the caption, "My reason." It was heartfelt, but it also reignited the storm. Comment sections turned into war zones. Some praised her strength, others accused her of manipulation. T.I., meanwhile, retreated completely. When he finally reappeared months later, he looked thinner, older, exhausted. In a brief live stream, he told fans he was focusing on his mental health and on finding peace after betrayal. His voice cracked mid-sentence. For a man who had built his image on control and confidence, the vulnerability was striking. Behind closed doors, lawyers and managers tried to salvage what was left. Rumors surfaced that T.I. had requested a paternity test. The paperwork leaked, confirming the test had been filed. Weeks later, a gossip outlet published what it claimed were the results. T.I. was not the father. Neither party confirmed nor denied it, but silence, in the world of celebrity scandal, is its own confession. In the months that followed, the world slowly moved on, but neither T.I. nor Tiny returned to who they once were. T.I. reinvented himself as a more introspective artist. His next album, Ashes and Crowns, traded bravado for vulnerability. He rapped about loss, fatherhood, and the danger of mistaking attention for love. Critics called it his most honest work yet. Tiny, on the other hand, stepped away from music entirely. She moved to LA, focusing on wellness and motherhood. Her Instagram transformed into a collage of positivity, sunlight, soft colors, and affirmations about healing. For her fans, it was a rebirth. For her critics, it was an escape. Every so often, the two would trend it in, a lyric in T.I.'s song interpreted as a jab, a caption from Tiny read as a reply. But the truth is, their story had already written its final chapter. They no longer needed words to explain it. The silence between them said enough. However, Tiny, T.I.'s longtime wife, became the first public face of heartbreak. Her life, once framed by luxury, music, and public appearances, was suddenly exposed to a storm of betrayal. Allegedly leaked medical reports suggested Shakina's pregnancy timeline perfectly matched T.I.'s stay in an Atlanta hotel months earlier. For Tiny, seeing those papers was like a physical blow, her entire world unraveling in front of cameras. Standing before the media, tears streaming down her face, her voice trembling with pain, she demanded the one thing that could confirm or deny the rumors: a DNA test. "I want the truth. My family deserves the truth," she said. Those words were not merely a plea, they were a declaration of a woman forced to confront unimaginable betrayal. Millions watched as she broke down, and for the first time, the world saw that behind fame and wealth, even the strongest relationships can crumble under secrecy. Social media erupted. Clips of Tiny sobbing, trembling, and begging for answers went viral within minutes, flooding TikTok feeds and trending globally on Twitter. Fans cried alongside her, some sharing stories of personal heartbreak that resonated with her pain. The scandal wasn't contained to whispers anymore. It had consumed the internet, transforming from rumor into a living, breathing tragedy. The story didn't stop with leaked documents. Screenshots of private chats allegedly revealed Shakina confessing that if the DNA test went public, Ty would lose everything: his wife, his empire, his career. The words were chilling. They spread like wildfire, fueling speculation, outrage, and disbelief. Every post, every screenshot, every viral clip added another layer to a story that was already impossible to ignore. The betrayal wasn't just about infidelity. It was about power, secrecy, and the sudden collapse of an empire built over decades. Fans debated endlessly online, some blaming Shakina, others pointing to Ty, some sympathizing with Tiny, but one thing was clear: the Harris empire was bleeding in real time, right before the eyes of millions. Then came the audio leak that would shock everyone further. Allegedly, Ty's own voice, captured by an anonymous whistleblower, instructed Shakina, "Don't worry, if this comes out, I'll handle Tiny." The courtroom gasped when this clip was played, and Tiny, unable to contain her pain, collapsed in tears, screaming, "You destroyed our family!" Cameras clicked relentlessly, capturing the crumbling of what had once seemed untouchable, a household built on love, fame, and music, now shattered by betrayal. The world watched, mesmerized and horrified, as a family's private agony was turned into a public spectacle. Outside the courthouse, chaos erupted. Protesters held signs reading, "Cancel Ty and stand with Tiny." The air was thick with chants, anger, and heartbreak. On social media, the reactions were instantaneous and brutal. TikTok was flooded with memes, reactions, and edits, some mocking Ty, others mourning Tiny, and a small fraction defending Shakina as the victim of circumstances she couldn't control. Every corner of the internet had an opinion, and all eyes were on the unfolding courtroom drama. What made this story unique was that it didn't just play out in private. It became a global conversation, forcing fans and critics alike to witness a modern-day tragedy unfold in real time. Inside the courtroom, the tension was palpable. Tiny sat at the front, her hands shaking, tissues soaked with tears, her legal team at her side. Shakina, heavily guarded, walked in next, her face a mix of guilt, fear, and defiance. Ty entered last, his once proud and commanding presence diminished, eyes hollow as if he knew the walls of his empire were about to fall. When the judge called the case, the courtroom seemed to collectively hold its breath. The DNA test, long anticipated, was about to be revealed, and everyone knew the results could change everything. When the envelope was opened, the world seemed to freeze. The DNA results were staggering: 99.9% probability.
Ty, the man who had built a legacy on music, fame, and loyalty, was confirmed as the biological father of Shekinah's child. The courtroom erupted. Tiny collapsed again, sobbing uncontrollably. "Why, Clifford? Why would you do this to me, to us?" Her daughter clung to her, whispering pleas for her to calm down, but the cameras never stopped flashing. Every tear, every scream, every moment of heartbreak was captured and shared, broadcasting the collapse of a family empire to millions around the world. Shekinah too broke down. "I never wanted this. He promised me everything," she cried, trying to reach out to Tiny, only to be met with a water bottle hurled in her direction. "You destroyed my life. You destroyed my children's home. Don't act like a victim," Tiny shouted. Outside, protesters' voices grew louder, more aggressive, as the story became a national spectacle. Talk shows, news outlets, and social media platforms dissected every angle, every emotion, every betrayal, fueling a scandal that refused to fade. As if this scandal weren't enough, another bombshell dropped. A leaked video surfaced, allegedly weeks before the trial, showing Ty laughing with friends. He bragged, "Tiny ain't going nowhere. She can cry, she can sue, but she'll always need me." And Shekinah, just another piece of the puzzle. The internet exploded. Fans called him manipulative, narcissistic, and shameless. Sponsors withdrew deals, record labels reviewed partnerships. In a matter of days, millions of dollars vanished, and Ty's empire teetered on the edge of collapse. Meanwhile, Tiny's public image transformed. From a woman publicly betrayed, she rose as a symbol of strength and resilience. Her statement to the press went viral. "I will rise. I will fight. My children will know the truth about the man who broke our home." Tiny became a queen in the eyes of fans, a figure of endurance and courage amid heartbreak. She was no longer defined by her relationship to Ty, but by her own strength, her ability to survive what seemed insurmountable.
Shekinah's world crumbled differently. Threats flooded her inbox. Protesters congregated outside her home. In tearful Instagram live videos, she pleaded, "I didn't destroy this family. He did. He told me he loved me. He told me he would leave Tiny. And now I am paying the price." Public opinion was merciless. She was called a liar, a homewrecker, a victim, and a villain all at once. No matter what she said, she was trapped in a storm of consequences that would not let her go. The story reached its legal climax when Tiny filed for divorce. The leaked documents detailed repeated betrayal, public humiliation, and irreparable emotional damage. She demanded half of T.I.'s empire, full custody of their children, and damages for trauma inflicted over years. Images of Tiny leaving the courthouse, her children clinging to her, sunglasses shielding her swollen eyes, became the defining symbol of the scandal. Headlines screamed, "Tiny ends it all. Divorce after DNA bombshell. T.I.'s empire crumbles." Years from now, when people talk about T.I. and Tiny, they won't just remember the scandal. They'll remember the rise. How two kids from Atlanta turned love into legacy. They'll remember the chemistry that electrified a generation and the music that still plays at weddings despite everything that followed. But they'll also remember how fast love can turn into leverage when fame gets involved, how secrets in the dark always find the light, and how even the strongest empire can crumble when trust begins to crack. What happened between T.I. and Tiny wasn't just tabloid fodder. It was a mirror held up to the industry, to the expectations we place on public love, to the audiences that crave drama more than truth, and to the painful reality that behind every viral post is a person breaking in silence. And so the story ends, not with a headline, but with a lesson. T.I. and Tiny taught us that fame magnifies everything, the love, the pain, and the lies. That when millions of eyes are watching, forgiveness becomes harder, and secrets become currency. Their story is a reminder that behind every glossy couple photo is a truth that may never be told in full. Because in the world of celebrity, perception is power. And sometimes protecting your image means losing yourself in the process. As the city lights fade and the gossip cycles move on, one question lingers in the air. Was this betrayal? Or simply two broken hearts trying to survive the spotlight? Only they know the real answer.